It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Charlotte Lady Eagles head women's soccer coach, Samantha Hope. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching and professional soccer?
Yeah, so I don't know that I ever had intention to do that. It kind of just worked its way into my hands. But I started. I didn't even know that I wanted to coach soccer, to be honest. But started with the college ranks, and honestly moved when I moved to Charlotte because I got married. I had an opportunity to work with the Charlotte Eagles, and I took it. I just felt like it was the right time, and yeah, I've always wanted to work with the highest level of player. So this was my this was my opportunity, and I'm grateful for it. And I really don't know that I would want to be anywhere else.
What was it like going to college and playing for the Charlotte 49ers?
That was an awesome experience. I'm from Kentucky originally, so Charlotte was not even on my radar until I started the recruiting process. But playing at Charlotte, I don't know if you've ever been to their campus, but it's immaculate. It's gorgeous. It's a high level of competitive soccer, and I made some of my best friends that I still have today while I was playing there.
What was that like, obviously, getting to put on that 49ers soccer jersey?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think any chance you get to play for your school to represent something bigger than yourself is pretty exciting. Having friends and family in the stands to cheer you on, I think it's something that I never want to take for granted because I know not everybody gets that opportunity or that experience. But I'd say there's a lot of pride behind it. Just yeah, glad to represent the 49ers.
What were some of your accomplishments during your time as a 49ers?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the bigger ones that I can remember now, they say, you know, when you're going through it, that there are a lot of things you won't remember. But I remember advancing to the NCAA tournament twice, my freshman and my sophomore year, and specifically my sophomore year, defeating Tennessee to advance to the second round of the NCAAs, and then we played Chapel Hill, so we actually got to play them twice that year, which was pretty exciting. One of the whether they were number one that year or not, just one of the best women's soccer programs in the history of college soccer. Getting to face them twice was pretty exciting to play against players like Tobin Heath and Yael Averbush. So yeah, I'd say those are probably the more memorable moments.
What was that experience like of playing against Chapel Hill?
I loved it. It made me really nervous. I'd say a lot of probably the same emotion, but put into two different categories: excitement and nervous. Just a lot of adrenaline rushing through my body. Yeah, I mean, you're going up against players that are now on the national team or were contingent to be on the national team. And I think just looking back, it's like, wow, in the moment, you don't realize what's happening to you, but then you think, I've been playing at the highest level that I could possibly play at.
What was that like coming out of college, getting into coaching?
Yeah, so like I shared earlier, I didn't really have intentions of coaching. I originally wanted to play professionally straight away out of college, and that door ended up closing and a door ended up opening for me to play at a school called Lenior-Rhyne, or not play, but coach at a school called Lenior-Rhyne University. I got to be a graduate assistant there. So that was my first trial as a coach, and I fell in love with it immediately because it was just really special to play the game and then to teach the game and to help somebody else achieve their dreams. So getting into coaching kind of fell into my lap, and then I fell in love with it after that.
What was that experience like of coaching at Lenior-Rhyne?
I really enjoyed it. I think I coached under two different coaches, Adrian Blewett and Callie Morrill, and they were awesome, both of them, just really passionate about the game. They were patient with me as a new coach, and maybe they saw something in me, maybe they didn't, but they definitely sparked an interest for me in coaching. And we found success at that program, probably in large part not due to me, but due to the people that were at the helm. And I think it was fun to be a part of something like that as my first experience, which then kind of snowballed into where I am now.
What was it like going to St. Stephanie's to go coach there?
Yeah, so that's one of the high schools up in Hickory. And again, just an opportunity that came to me because I was in the seat that I was in. Met a lot of really great coaches there and players that I still keep in touch with today. I was an assistant coach at the time, and I really do love that role, being able to connect with the players and support the head coach. And you have a little bit less responsibility, but you get to be a little bit more relational.
How was it like obviously getting your opportunity to play professional soccer?
That was incredible. A teammate of mine, a former teammate of mine, Ashley Gunning, now Alcorn, was the one who invited me to play for a team called Kvarnsveden in Sweden. And it came to me while I was finishing my degree at Lenior-Rhyne and ended up graduating early in order to pursue that. And I remember thinking, is this the right time? Should I do it? Am I too old? Has that ship sailed? But ultimately, I think what came to me was I may not ever get another opportunity like this, and I would regret it if I didn't take it.
What was it like obviously getting to play international soccer professionally?
That was really cool. Super grateful that the Lord opened that door for me. Getting to live in a different country is a unique experience, and if anybody has that opportunity, I would encourage them to take it, even for a short amount of time. Having to learn a different language, having to be in a position where people are speaking Swedish around you and you don't know what they're saying, and you have to be the bold, brave one to ask them to translate for you or to engage in conversation. But got to play in a lot of amazing stadiums all across the Swedish country. Got to travel a little bit while I was over there on break. Got to see some friends in different countries, and Sweden is near and dear to my heart. I really hope that I will be able to travel back and visit some people that I met while I was there.
How was it like during your time at Gardner-Webb as the assistant coach?
That was really great. I worked under Mike Varga, who's still there. I feel like we just have a really good coaching relationship now. I think that was my first real job per se, where I was being paid a salary, an actual salary to hone my craft. And I think Mike was really patient with me. As I was learning and growing as a coach, he gave me, a lot of responsibility on the field, off the field, with leadership development. It was there that got to just practice some of the things that I had learned playing with the Charlotte Eagles. We got to implement things like Bible studies within the team, got to do pregame chapels, leadership development, and then of course, all of the soccer side of things, on-field coaching, scouting, recruiting. And I think had I not had that experience, I would not have been prepared to step into the role that I'm in with the Charlotte Eagles.
What was it like, obviously, going to Gardner-Webb and obviously Lenior-Rhyne to help you to where you are with the Charlotte Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like I had some really great coaching mentors, coaches that were over me, with Adrian and Callie and Mike. Um, so I like I said, I really love the assistant role. I think if if I continue to coach at some point, I can see myself back in that role. Um, just because it really is my bread and butter, just the relationships, getting to come alongside a player in a way that you kind of have to set different boundaries as a head coach. But I think because of those experiences, because they were so positive, it propelled me to where I am with the Charlotte Eagles. Had something gone awry, I think I would have second guessed myself.
What was that feeling like for you when you did get that call from the Charlotte Eagles to become the head coach?
I think the original feeling was fear, if I'm honest. It was, oh no, I feel like this was impending, that this was probably going to happen at some point, but it's here now. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Am I qualified? I kept comparing myself to the former head coaches, Mitch Sanford and Lee Horton. And yeah, I think ultimately it was this battle between me and God of like, no, Sam, you're ready. Like I know best, and me fighting against his will, but ultimately stepping into it and just trusting the Lord and his timing and his goodness. And yeah, I think he was good to show me that I am qualified, because he's qualified and he doesn't make mistakes. And yeah, now I'm looking back on those days. I'm like, man, I can't believe that that was ever the case, because I love what I get to do every day.
What was that transition like from you from going from a college coach to a professional soccer coach?
I don't think it was too different. I think um, soccer is soccer at every level. I think it's just the mentality of the player that you're coaching. And I think college players share a lot of the same mentality as professional or semi-professional players, in the sense that they're competitive, they want to win, they want to do their best. You don't find uh, um, a large group of people who want to come in and just slack and slide under the radar. Everybody's trying to be their best, and I love that, because I think, yeah, you don't have to worry about motivating people. You just have to worry about empowering them and encouraging them and teaching them and educating them, getting them to um, just all buy into the same game plan, and then you go from there. Once you're all on board with the same strategy, then it's fun and it's smooth sailing from there.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built for the Charlotte Lady Eagles?
Yeah, I think a lot of the culture, honestly, was laid before my time with people like Lee Horton and Mitch Sanford. And having played with the Eagles for 3 years, having coached under Lee and Mitch for 3 years as well, it was kind of ingrained in me, what the expectations were. And I think when I finally did say yes to the head coaching job, I didn't know anything different, and just continued to implement all of the things that were implemented for me. And of course, there have been new things that have been brought to the table. We're not just using the same playbook over and over again, but yeah, just grateful for the people that went before me to show me what it looks like to coach in this environment.
What was that like? Obviously, as you said, you played for the Charlotte Eagles, and now that you're the coach, what has that transition been like from going from being a player to now a coach of the team?
I think pretty seamless. Early on, as a young coach, I still wanted to jump back into training any chance that I could get. And, as an assistant, it was pretty easy to do that. As a head coach, you're tempted, but you also have other responsibilities that you have to tend to, and you need to watch the game from a different viewpoint. But yeah, I mean, I hope that what players get from me now, having been a player, is this passion that I have for the game and this passion that I have for the Eagles environment, because it changed my life. And my hope is that it will be used to change other people's lives.
How has that been like, obviously seeing players that obviously are coming in through the program, obviously leaving their impact like you left your impact as a player?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's our hope and our prayer and our goal every year, is that players um, will leave some form of a legacy, whether it's with the Eagles or whether it's wherever they go back to next, and that they'll utilize a lot of the training that they get with the Charlotte Eagles, on the field, with sports ministry, um, as people, as players, and they'll take it back to their environments, whether it's their college locker room or interacting with their coaches or their families. Or we have a lot of players who are in professional jobs, working here in Charlotte. The hope is that they'll take it into those environments and impact their colleagues.
Who are some of the teams that you face in the WPSL?
So this year it'll look a little bit different. Some of the conferences have shifted around, but we'll play a team out of Charlotte called Women's Football Club. We'll play a team out of Columbia called Soda City. We'll play a couple teams down south, a team out of Hilton Head area called Bluffton, and a team out of Savannah called Savannah Spirit. Those are the teams within our conference. If we advance past that, we'll play in regionals, which will be held in Florida this year. So we'll end up playing probably one of those teams down there. And then if we advance past that, we'll go to nationals, which will be in Oklahoma this year. And we could play anybody across the country at that point.
Was it like, obviously having two Charlotte teams in the area and getting to play each other?
I love it because we don't have to travel as far. And I think Scott Jen, who's the coach at Women's Football Club, we have a pretty good relationship, a pretty good rapport. So yeah, just I mean, the goal of our programs is to do our best and to try to win, but it's to develop players and give them a platform for them to train and prepare for their college seasons in the fall. So I think Scott gets that. And yeah, I think it's nice to have a little bit of a rivalry with that, but it's certainly a friendly one.
Was it like, obviously, as you said, to have your players go on to the college level? What is that like, obviously, seeing your players go on to the college level, whether it's D1, D2, or D3?
I think that's the hope and the goal. I don't think many players that are with us would be with us if they didn't have that intention or that as their end goal. But yeah, we want them to play at the highest level and to enjoy it and to make an impact on their team. Our hope is that when they go back to their team, that their coaches and their teammates notice something different about them. The hope is that they're better at soccer, of course, but that they're also better as people, better as leaders, better as teammates, and that more and more people would come to us or choose us for their summer training.
What are some of the game day routines and rituals like?
Yeah, I mean, I think something unique to the Charlotte Eagles, I've kind of alluded to it in this interview, is we're a faith-based team. So our pre-game probably looks a little bit different than most teams. We do have a pre-game chapel. We have worship, and we typically bring in a speaker that will talk about something of higher importance, just to center our minds on what's above, on the Lord. And while the game is what's in front of us during those chapels, I think the goal is to fix our eyes on what is eternal, because the game is just temporary.
What are some of your future plans on things that you want to implement in the Charlotte Eagles as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're to a point now where I think what I just shared maybe in that last question is we want more and more people to choose us as their training ground for the summer. We hope that high level soccer will attract people. We also hope that the faith-based piece will attract people. We're adding an under 23 team for the first time this year, which gives us 25 more players to coach and to pour into. I mean, I would hope that we would be able to add more and more platforms like that, whether it's personal training or group training, or maybe a third team if it came to that, of high school players, have a high school group, a college group, and a post-college group. So we're just kind of sitting here with open hands, hoping that that we're doing all of the right things and we can keep growing.
What is it like, obviously, as a coach, to see the alumni obviously go on to the NWSL level?
Yeah, I would love to see many of our players get plugged into the NWSL level. And now that NWSL is stable and it's growing and it's flourishing, there's more opportunities for players. So I would hope that as we continue to perform well in the WPSL and help to produce strong players, that NWSL teams would notice us, that we would be able to establish greater relationships with those coaches and those owners. And obviously the college realm, NCAA is a great place to recruit, but if coaches ever had their eye on our league and our players, we'd love to engage in those conversations so that we can be a launching pad for players to get into the professional ranks of NWSL.
What advice would you give future college coaches looking to get started?
Maybe the biggest piece is be flexible. Coaching, I think, is one of the more flexible professions. You show up to practice and you're expecting 20 people and 2 people are late and 1 person has a pulled hamstring, and now you have to adapt. I don't see many coaches thrive if they're not willing or able to be flexible with something as simple as that. And that's just one example of ways that coaches need to be able to hold things with open hands. But I would also say get plugged in to as many places as you can to coach, even if it's coaching a U10 team or coaching a bunch of camps in the summer, doing personal training. I think just being around the game and around players as often as you can to gain that experience, but really to gain that confidence, so that when you do hit your first interview for a college job, you can hopefully look back on some of those experiences to draw from and know that you're qualified.
What advice would you give some college coaches like yourself that went from coaching in college to now coaching professionally?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe like I shared, I don't feel like there's too many differences between coaching college and coaching with the Eagles at this level, apart from you just don't have your players for as long, so you're coaching kind of from a different perspective, not necessarily a 9-month season, but a 3-month season. But I mean, I would say if that was someone's desire, that they should hop on and serve as a volunteer with a team like the Charlotte Eagles WPSL, USLW League, NWSL. Be around coaches as much as you can. And coaching is not a profession where you make a ton of money, so there's just not a ton of money to offer, which means I think coaches that desire that need to be willing to kind of climb the ladder and be willing to serve for nothing apart from the love of the game and the love of the players.
What advice would you give those coaches that are either assistant coaches or even head coaches on the professional level looking to go on the professional level, whether it's the NWSL, USL, or even the WPSL?
Yeah, I mean, probably similar to coaches that are in college looking to get into those ranks. Just continue to be around the game. I'd say also trust your own processes. If you're ever in an interview for something that's of a higher level than where you're coaching currently, trust your processes that you've used previously. I think there are there are a lot of opportunities now and will be a lot of opportunities to come as the women's game grows. So just being available, being brave as well, being able to put your name into the hat, even though it might not get selected, but still being willing to try your hand and know that the right job will come into your lap when it's supposed to.
That's great advice. What are some of your future plans for the Charlotte Lady Eagles?
Well, for the current season, like I said, we've got a WPSL team, we've got an under 23 team. I think the hope and the prayer would be able to add a group at some point that's at the high school level, or I guess pre-college level, if you will, for them to be able to train and kind of work their way into the WPSL ranks. I'd love to see the Charlotte Lady Eagles be a contender for a next level pro environment, if that ever comes, something in between WPSL and NWSL. I would also just immediately for this summer, I want to see us advance as far as we can. I want to see us advance past conference play. I want to see us advance past regional play. I want to see us on the national stage, so that Eagles can have exposure, but also so that our players can have exposure, and our mission can have exposure, and we can encourage those who have the same mission, who are looking on.
That's wonderful. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Charlotte Lady Eagles app?
Social media for me is Instagram's probably the best place to find me, at Samantha-Hope. And for Charlotte Lady Eagles, Instagram is probably also the best place to find us. It's at Charlotte Lady Eagles is the user handle.
Thank you again, Coach Sam Hope, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Charlotte Lady Eagles as their head coach.
Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Sam Hope, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Charlotte Lady Eagles.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.